Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have the impressive Lennart Wingardh. We're going to be discussing his amazing book, The Unfortunate Destiny of Our Planet and Us. Now, it's available for purchase through Amazon, as well as barnesandnoble.com, directly through the publishing company Author Reputation Press, pretty much any online book reseller. Okay, head on over there today, pick up your copies, and while you're at it, check out his other book that Lennart has written as well. Now, that one is called The Religion That Was Changed by Its Own Priesthood. Oh, right there in the title, you have an idea of what to expect. Head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, purchase both of these fantastic narratives today. And before we go any further, I want to take this opportunity and point out that Lennart was brought to our network, People of Distinction, by that same publishing company, Author Reputation Press. So for my writers out there that have gone through their process creating their masterpiece, although now you need help moving that book you just developed. If that's you, head on over to authorreputationpress.com today and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is going to help move your wonderful book. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Lennart here on the line. This is something you're going to want to get on board with. And at the end of the day, Lennart is the expert, man. It's his book. He's written it. He's done the research. And he's going to be able to articulate everything much better than I ever could. So while you're listening in, sit back, strap in, and have your notebooks ready. Lennart, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity because I think that people need to wake up and learn that we don't have much time left. And it is really amazing that nobody during thousands of years since God began to issue his prophecies, nobody seems to have understood what the prophecies were all about. Yeah. And it took me a long time before I began to understand what it was about. And it happened when I read what God said, that the people, the prophets, they were his messengers. But I thought that the most amazing thing that he said was that they were also his warners. And I said to myself, warning about what? Mm-hmm. And then I found out after quite some investigation that he was warning about our end. He said it very clearly that the end was definitely going to occur. It was just a time that he said he wasn't going to give away. People needed to learn by themselves, by ourselves, what it was all about. And it happened in a very amazing way. I have been researching, so to say, for a long time, many years. And it was mainly because I bought books that were related to the end of time. I didn't find anything. It was people writing what they thought. And I found that everything that was needed to be known was found in the Jewish Bible. The Jewish Bible was really the place where God was talking to his prophets, the messengers and warners. And so I learned a lot about it, but still there was no indication as to what it was that really was going to happen until I, just out of curiosity and interest, began to follow all the reports on the internet about the global warming, until I realized after quite some reading that what he had been warning about was the effects of the global warming that had began to appear. And how it appeared, it was because the oceans were warming up. The oceans were causing problems in Antarctica, in other places where the enormous ice sheets began to melt away. That really didn't say so much to begin with, but when one realized that all that water that was being melted was going out to the oceans and changing things quite drastically, that was what I thought was amazing, that it was happening. The way how God had represented it was initially through his prophet Isaiah. That's about 2,800 years ago, when he said, for instance, that the stars were falling towards our planet. And I thought, how, and excuse me the word, how the heck could such a thing happen? Because those small little stars are enormous suns, light years away. I thought, how could that happen? And I realized it couldn't happen. There was something very different, really very scary, that was going to happen at some moment. So I continued my investigations, and now I was really very interested in seeing what was it that he talked about that nobody had understood. And I thought, one of the other things, I was reading, obviously following everything related to the global warming, and found that Earth scientists, the ones who were the experts working with what was happening, I read that one of the experts said that they didn't want to involve religion in their work. And that's okay. I mean, religion has nothing doing with what was happening and what was going to continue happening. But it just turns out that the place where the warnings were being told by the prophets was in the Jewish Bible, and the Jewish Bible is a religious book, but it was the only place where the prophets could write and describe what was happening. And in doing what they did, they disallowed themselves to learn what God had been telling us a long time ago. And of course, it would have taken some effort to learn and understand what was being said. Until the global warming occurred, there wasn't before that no signs of what it was that was going to happen. But once the effects, and I'm saying effect because it is what the global warming does to the earth,
right,
that is of importance. The global warming is just a word about the whole matter. So the global warming, what it caused was exactly the melting of those enormous ice sheets. And with that, obviously, enormous quantities of water went out to the oceans. Most scientists, as I realized, they were talking about the water going out evenly to the oceans, but that is not true. The water is going out unevenly. So what it is doing to the planet is balance. By changing the balance, as it goes more and more and more, there is a tremendous unbalance that in some way is going to change everything on this planet. So I came to that point and I said, I tried to contact scientists to talk to them about it, but they never had time. I don't have time to talk with you, so that was it. So I couldn't get involved with anybody, and of course I am a completely unknown person. So they were not interested, couldn't even believe, I believe, that I would know anything that they didn't know, which happens to be reality. So God has mentioned in the Jewish Bible through mainly 3 prophets that He is going to make the earth to be inhabitable. All species are going to die. So I think that is very, very clear. The way how it's going to happen, it's mainly to be learned in the book of Revelation. There's 2 chapters, and especially one that says that all mountains and all islands would disappear. Now, what does that mean? It means something very terrible, and that the planet is turning around. Now, my wife and I, we went on a trip to visit with a small Indian tribe called the Hopi Indians. They happen to have revelations, prophecies that are just amazing. So we went to see them and talk with them. And one of the things that was mentioned, they have what is called a prophecy stone. The prophecy stone is a stone where somebody of the elders a long time ago written in the story, one could say the story of mankind from the beginning to the end. And what I learned was that they say that Turtle Island, they call the U.S. the Turtle Island for some reason. They said that was going to turn around. So we have another indication from them that the planet is going to turn around. Now, they had something quite interesting that has nothing to do with the end of time, but it just shows how knowledgeable they are. They said that they were visited long time ago by somebody that it seems to me that it was, in a way, somehow God sent somebody to talk with them. And what they learned was that there were going to be 3 shakings. The shakings, they were told, were going to be world wars. And they said that 2 shakings already passed, and there was 1 more to come. So a 3rd world war that is somewhere to happen, let's say, someday now. So I thought they were amazingly interesting. Anyhow, so we are so close. It depends on the ice melt, and it's not only the ice melt, because what happens is that when ice melts away from a place, lots of ice, then the earth underneath gets up, and what it does, it pushes away more water. So the whole thing is going very fast and faster and faster. And in my book, I have a that indicates how long time left. And it's not many years. It's in our time when we are going to see, unfortunately, be part of the end. And it's unfortunately going to be very bad for us. So I say we should be preparing ourselves. We cannot do anything to stop it, because what God was telling us about was what he saw was happening thousands of years in the future, that he in some ways wanted to warn us about, and that's why he called his prophets his warners. So I think that since we cannot do anything to stop it, we can do things to make it not so difficult for us. So all those people who give away millions and billions of dollars should start to think about how can we help each other to make it less difficult and less terrible to withstand when that day comes. I think that is the main part of the message about the book. And the book, I have really gone into a lot of work to bring in all the issues that are happening. And if we take a look at the stars falling down on Earth, it's not that those enormous suns are going to be falling down to us from light years away. It's an impossibility. That is again telling us that the planet is turning around. Now, if you are looking in one direction, it will look as the stars are falling down. But I came to the conclusion that this was an issue that if you turn around the other way, it would look like shooting stars that are going away from our planet. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting issue.
Yeah.
Now, in the Quran, God says that He's the owner of the two easts, the two wests. That is, in a way, an indication also that the planet is turning around. So when it has finished turning around, the sunrise will be in another direction, and the sunset will be also following that change in another direction. So that's how the two east and the two wests are going to occur.
Mm-hmm. People, I'm telling you, Amazon and Barnes & Noble are where you have to go. The Unfortunate Destiny of Our Planet and Us by Lennart Wingardh is the title you have to pick up. And the author you need to thank for bringing it to your table. You know, follow-up question, Lennart, and thank you so much for all of the information. Because listen, man, I had a list filled with questions, and you went through and answered all of the questions without me even having to ask, right? So you're making my job easy here, and I love it.
Okay.
My follow-up question, though, as we start to close out here, Lennart, what are you hoping to see people do with your book?
I really don't have an answer to that. But I think that we cannot do anything to change or stop or make it go backwards. I think that we need to try and let's say be good to each other, try to give the most unfortunate people something to work with, that they can feel better about the situation. Know that, well, we all have to die, but we maybe don't have to die in such terrible conditions. There is something that helps us to keep on going.
Right. Lennart, this is impactful stuff. People, listen, I could sit here and I could talk to Lennart for hours. I mean, there is just that much information, and I am engulfed in all of it. You know what you have to do, though. Okay, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. It's Amazon. It's Barnes & Noble. You got to pick up your copies. The anchor for today's interview was all about the unfortunate destiny of our planet and us. Check out his other book, The Religion That Was Changed by Its Own Priesthood. Both are remarkable resources to add to your shelf. Head on over there today, pick up your copies, get lost in all of it. And above all, people, remember, it's time to wake up. Lennart, this has been a true pleasure, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
I must say, Benji, I am so thankful. It was so nice to get to know you and to get the opportunity into this program.